This episode is sponsored by Fairfax Football Academy, the best QB training and development in all of Northern Virginia. Follow on Instagram at Fairfax Football Academy. You'll be happy that you did. All right, welcome back to All Hitches, Nova's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We had an exciting Friday. Got to meet Isaiah at the game. It was awesome, man. It was awesome that he got to say what's up. And anytime you see us say what's up to us, flag us down. We're approachable. We're approachable. We're
very approachable. That was a cool moment. I agree. It's good to see Isaiah. Isaiah and his buddy came down and they were kind of making a joke because in last week's episode, when you said we're going to be at Hayfield, you said how cool would it be to have someone holding up an All Hitches 316 sign or something, right?
Yeah.
And he comes down, sees us, shook our hands, and he said, "Man, I wanted to bring a sign that said All Hitches on it." And we were laughing. We're like, that would have been a Mesa bucket list item right there.
Oh, that might have been the greatest moment of my life. I mean, other than getting married and having a child, but other than that,
and he said it. I mean, the fact to me that was bucket list enough. They just this nice young man comes down from the stands and just introduces himself and says he loves the show.
Yeah.
And just a football fan, not a football player.
Yeah,
fan.
We had a great time at the game.
Great time. Yeah. Very accommodating over at Hayfield.
Yeah.
Right. That they did a good job over there. It was homecoming. Okay, right. Yeah. And look, it was feeder night. It was homecoming night. It was everything. It was a packed house, huh?
It was pretty awesome. The other thing I want to bring up is, as most of you should know, we do have a website, novahighschoolsports.com, where we try to cover all the sports this year, and it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But there's a couple people who really helped out. We did have some field hockey coverage this year. We had a gentleman named Brendan Sullivan who reached out to me early in the summer and kind of was feeding us field hockey highlights, which was awesome. I really appreciate his help this year. And in fact, I even got to learn about there's been a field hockey coach for 30 years at Marshall. Coach Carroll there is celebrating her 30th year at Marshall. We did a write up on her. But it was awesome to be able to shine some light. Both myself and Coach Dash, we both have daughters. I have a daughter, and Coach Dash has daughters. And it's always nice to get the female athletes kind of football is easy. Football gets covered regardless. I mean, not as much as I think that it should, but female sports in particular, especially at the high school level, do not get very much coverage. But he's helped us out a ton. And anybody out there who wants to help out and write some sports articles and wants to go out to games, we are more than would more than like to have your stuff, and football including, right? If you're like, hey, right, I'm going to go to a playoff game, can I do a write up? Yes, you absolutely can. Send it to us and we'll put it out there. We'll give you some we'll publish it out there. So if that's something you want to do, you can always point to the website and be like, hey, look at that. I was on this site right there, which is exciting. So, I just wanted to mention though the field hockey coverage that we got this year from Mr. Sullivan was fantastic, and hopefully we can kind of expand that next year or moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also at the game we met Isaac. Yeah. Isaac from the Scholar Athletes Sports Network, right? Yeah. Good guy. Good guy. Also works at ESPN AM radio.
Yeah.
Really good dude. So we'll say hi to Isaac, and maybe we'll do some cross promotion with them down the road. So I thought that was kind of a good night, good Friday night all around, I think.
Yeah, it was. It was a good Friday night. Dodgers won on a walk-off grand slam, but last night I am currently praying that Ohtani's shoulder is gonna be okay and go through the series. So,
well, everyone could appreciate this because Mace's a big sports fan, big baseball fan, and so we were recording a segment for Mr. DMV, Chad Ricardo, on his Fox show after the Hayfield game on Friday night, kind of giving our piece. And the grand slam, the Dodger grand slam was hit right as we were getting ready to film. Mesa jumps up like the coach from Major League when he's in the hospital bed.
I love this British stuff.
That's right. So that it was kind of fun watching your excitement there. Like I said, I'm not a huge baseball fan anymore, but when I was a Dodger fan. You got the 2 games, buddy. Don't blow it down.
Got to steal one in New York in the good old Bronx.
Should be okay. They don't look good right now. And we got Halloween week, right? A lot of costumes everywhere.
Yeah.
And, people are probably wearing their sports themed costumes. I got one that I can say on this. People will get it. I told my kids, and my sons appreciated it. My daughters were like, "Who's that?" I'm ordering a blonde, like a bowl haircut wig. And as a Raider fan, I have a lot of Raider gear. I was going to be Mark Davis. I'm going to be Mark Davis. That's a good Halloween. All my Raider clothes that I have, and then just throwing on a gold or a blonde haired bowl haircut. That's a money costume for people who know.
Yeah. Do you sit outside your house and hand out candy, or do you have the kids knock on your door and then answer the door and then give candy?
Yeah, we've done both. On nice nights, we'll do a fire outside and hand out candy.
Yeah.
So we've done it both ways.
I got a projector this year, relatively cheap, but I think I'm gonna try do the projection onto a pumpkin and while it sings. I think I'm gonna try to do that. I'm a decorating kind of guy. I was like,
yeah, you are a decorating kind of guy, and your decorating time's coming up soon, buddy. I know you're a Christmas
guy. In 2 weeks. Yeah. All of our Christmas stuff is going up.
Look at you, freaking Bing Crosby over here.
Yeah,
good job, buddy. Danny K, Bing Crosby. One last little kind of mini announcement. It's a tease, but Celebrity Deli, which I think is the oldest deli in Northern Virginia. I believe it is. Most iconic deli in Northern Virginia.
Big word.
I think it's iconic. It's an institution, as we say. It's an institution. There's a special announcement we're going to make regarding Celebrity Deli and your favorite hosts, Coach Daz and Coach Mesa, and the All Hitches podcast. Hopefully next episode. Like Casablanca, right? Like Casablanca. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, right? I think that's the line we're going for there.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of beautiful friendships, we got some guys, man. We got some guys here that had some beautiful nights. They had beautiful nights last night or Friday night. And we're going to talk about it right now. We're going to break it down, my friend. And we're going to start with our players of the week in the National District. You love this. You've been calling for it all season. You wanted a lineman. You said, we need linemen. Where's the O lineman? Well, my friend, Edison delivered. You get our guy, Gabriel Fats Kim.
Yeah. Fats dominant. Fats dominant, right? Not knocking over like dominoes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How can you not have get a guy play the week who offensive lineman, his name is Fats.
Awesome.
That's pretty amazing. So awesome job playing for Edison. It's a hard thing, right? There's one guy on the team who touches the ball every play.
That's right.
Center. And so
that's right.
Congratulations to him.
You gotta love that, man. Like John Madden would be proud, right? Right? John Madden, it was football. You're talking about delis, you're talking about sandwiches, you're talking about fats. This is what we talk about. This is football, right?
It is.
So congratulations to Edison and Gabriel Fats Kim. That's awesome. All right. Moving down to Patriot. There was a lot of actually good nominees here. We ended up going with someone we hadn't named before, but he did it both offensively and defensively. Our guy, Penn Morris.
Yeah. I think I should go and defer to you. You were a Penn Morris fan before anybody even knew who that guy was.
I was. I saw Penn Morris in a couple games for Fairfax, and I'm like, that guy looks pretty dynamic. It looked like remember the old human joystick, Dante Hall?
Oh.
Human joystick. He had a little Dante Hall in him. So
I'd imagine you were not a big fan of Dante Hall.
No, it was not. As a Raider fan, but I respected Dante Hall, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Hyman Roth, right? Didn't like him, but I respected him. Penn Morris, he got an interception on defense, and then obviously a big game on offense as well. That's kind of normally his forte is offense. Now they got him out there, intercepting balls. This guy's coming on. The perfect timing too to come on.
Yeah, like Fairfax getting ready for playoffs, right? More stars about to merge. They're gonna be a tough
out. Next up, we got Liberty. And there was a really big win by Herndon in the Liberty against Marshall, and this guy kind of led the way. That's your man, Bueller.
Yeah. A big win for Herndon, right? Big, and we'll get to that game. but to have a guy step up like that for a game that they needed, right? Which has got them real close to possibly hosting a playoff game, which I think will be big for them.
Right. Yeah. Two touchdowns, two rushing touchdowns for our man Ferris, not Ferris Bueller, but you got to love a name like that.
Yeah.
You know, that was not his day off. That was his day on.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it came to me quick. So good job, Herndon and our man Bueller. All right, in the Concord. Now you watched this game and you thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah, you had quarterback Shields from Centerville for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Was a big reason, and a lot of those passes he had throw, under duress. I thought he looked really good, and huge win for Centerville. I mean, they're trying to make the playoffs, and now they are right there. They're right there. They can taste it. So they've got a pretty good shot to get themselves in the playoffs.
They are coming on. They're hot right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're hot. They almost beat Westfield.
Yeah, one of the hotter teams in the region.
Right, because you got to remember they almost beat Westfield last week.
Yeah.
So then that's a big deal. So kudos to young Shields and the Centerville team. All right, the Cardinal District. And we got 2 movie references, right? We had Bueller, and now we got paging Mr. Herman.
Yeah, 7 carries for over 200 yards. I mean, I don't know how you don't multiple time award winner. But again, been a big Garfield guy all year. Definitely had a huge game. And seven for 200 yards is pretty impressive.
That's insane, right?
Yeah.
How many yards a carry is that? Like almost 30 yards. It's almost 30 yards a carry.
Almost 30 yards a carry. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. It's a good job, Herman Jackson and Garfield. And then kind of rounding things up here, Cedar Run. We had first-time winner, running back for Battlefield, Sage Crash Davis.
Yeah, I mean, big power run game right there. I believe he had multiple touchdowns in that game. Big win for them while they gear up to try to go ahead and get and secure that 1 seed.
Right.
Definitely gonna be a dogfight with them and Patriot at the end of the year. But with a guy like Callum at quarterback, and you need that complimentary run right there, and it looks like he may be stepping into that role.
Yeah. So congrats to Sage Davis and Battlefield, and that kind of rounds up the 6 award winner Player of the Week, week 9. Player of the week 9. But we're not done there, buddy. Not done one bit there. We got highlight of the week. It was the moment we've been waiting for, or should I say, is it the moment you've been waiting for?
Yeah, against Robinson, against the defense I think that we kind of liked all year. Took a middle screen right there to the house. Fairfax definitely trending up, and they definitely have some weapons. And Melman had a big moment at that point, right in the game. So,
yeah,
congratulations to him.
Yeah, outstanding to all the award winners this week. Outstanding work. All right, buddy. Well, we're gonna go from there to our games of the week. We had our Fab Five, and unfortunately, they did not live up to it. They were not. There was a couple close ones, but a lot of one-sided games this week in week 9.
Yeah, we're getting down at the time of year though, right? We're just, one, injuries, right? I'm sure a lot of teams are dealing with quite a few injuries, and
right.
It's starting to weigh heavy on everybody, and I mean this is a tough time of year right now. It's kind of trying to get yourself to the finish line to get the playoffs and kind of get that renewed sense of energy, but right now you're just kind of going through the slugfest right now.
Yeah, and so we'll start from the top. What was billed as the game of the year in the DMV, and I don't think it. The score ended up getting kind of one-sided a little early, but we'll get into all that. But Riverdale versus Hayfield, a lot of storylines going into that one, and I think we're going to brag a little bit because we kind of thought we saw what the difference was going to be in this game, right? And we were right. So go ahead and talk about it. You kind of lead things off here.
Yeah. So, going to that game, we definitely thought that, and this is no disrespect to Hayfield's front. I think
not at all.
They can play, but when you're dealing with multiple Division I signees, I mean, that's going to be the issue. And I think early on, they were it took them a little while to put their, they jumped in the pool and it was cold. And it took them to top a little while to warm up. They athletically just on the fronts were big and athletic and strong, and I think it took a second for them. And it just seemed like also Hayfield was completely out of sorts. Isaiah French was kind of missing passes. He doesn't miss. They go down and score, and then the ensuing kickoff gets fumbled, and then you can't spot a team that's that talented. And I don't think the Hayfield coaching staff would disagree with me or anyone who saw that game. But if a team that is that talented, you spot them 14 points, let alone 35 points. Odds are it's gonna be a tough night for you. The other thing I was really impressed with, and I know I've told this to Coach Dash multiple times, anybody who I've talked to about it, was the size of those receivers. Those receivers weren't just tall; they were big. I mean, they had to be those three receivers I saw. I would guess, and I don't know if you would agree with me on this, Dash, probably 6'3", about 210.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, they were big kids. I mean, these kids look like kids who play on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Just like that. And Hayfield had a kid at a talented kid at corner who's talented, but he was a freshman playing against that. I don't think he had seen that up close yet. I mean, they hadn't played anybody who had looked like that. Now, to Hayfield's credit, the second quarter, it was an exciting quarter. They ended up winning that quarter 24-13. They kind of calmed down, figured it out, and went after them. But then the second half came around, and just that was obviously the most talented team that I've seen all year.
Yeah.
And could possibly be, and I haven't seen anybody from down south, might be the most talented team that Hayfield sees all year. I think kudos to them for taking on a game like that. I don't think I've seen a team all year that could have played with those guys, and I feel like that second quarter that Hayfield absolutely could. I think had things gotten different in that first quarter, had some things broken a little bit differently in the first quarter, I think it would have been easily a very close game at the half. It would have been a tough win either way. Things would have broken a little differently, but again, the kickoff return early on, the fumble, and just some other things that don't break right for them, I think was the difference in the game. But it was definitely a lot of talent in that field, though.
Yeah, it really was, and we talked about this. I mentioned it earlier. We did a little bit for Chad Ricardo, Mr. DMV, and on his Fox show, and he even said it. He said that there's no shame in this loss. There is this Riverdale Baptist team is probably the number one team in the DMV. Period. Prep school, public school, whatever. Yeah. They might be the number one team. So so you lose to the number one team, right? In the entire, not in FCPS, not in just Northern Virginia, not Maryland, not DC, but the entire DMV, right? If people are going to talk about Baltimore teams, but that's not DMV. Baltimore's not DMV. That's a big deal. I don't, to me, and we talked about this, I think Havel's a better team after this loss.
Yeah.
And they're a better team for it, playing an opponent of that caliber. Because we said it, when they play Oscar Smith, if and when they play Oscar Smith down the road, you need to see some big, talent.
Yeah.
Right? When you play, whoever you end up playing, 7-5-7 team down, you got to play some big boys, right?
Yeah.
And before you see Patriot, before you see Battlefield, that's what's going to happen. You got to see some big boys. Yeah. So they did. And that was important. The other thing was, you and I said it. How were they going to, when they were down, I think 35-0.
35 is nothing, yeah.
Yeah, we looked at each other and we go, how are they going to react to this? Because this is a team that wins a lot.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? Right? How are they going to react the way this is going? It could be bad.
Yeah.
And how they reacted was they went on a 23-7 run.
Yeah.
Because they made it 35 at the beginning of the second quarter.
Yeah.
And then Hayfield rattles off almost 23 straight points.
Yeah.
And then that one little fast guy for Riverdale got around the corner and made it 7. So it was a 23-7 run. And you and I said at the end of half, we were like, you know what? It doesn't matter what happens from here on out.
Yeah.
They answered the bell. They went down, they got up, and they fought back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the boxing analogy, right? They got off on the mat, right? They could have laid on the mat and taken the 10 count and just been out.
Right.
They pulled themselves up and they continue to fight, which I think is a credit to those kids, for doing that. Definitely was again. I don't know if this is going to be the best team they play all year. I don't know anything about Oscar Smith. I hear Oscar Smith is really good, but I can't imagine being better.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
I can't imagine them being better than what they saw right there. So, great atmosphere. Um, the coaching staff was able to rally that team together, and those kids were able to pull themselves up, and they didn't lose their composure. Right? I think there are people, unfortunately, out there who would think that they would lose their composure, and they did not.
Yeah,
they did not.
The other thing that you and I talked about on that night, it was a very cool atmosphere, and you know where I stood on that. I part of me was hoping they'd come out wrapped in the Virginia State flag, right? Yeah, like Rocky in Moscow, but and I was half joking, but I was also serious, and in terms of what they were representing to me, in my eyes, and as a Virginia guy, and you are a adopted Virginia guy now, it's a shame that there were some people rooting against them.
Yeah.
From Virginia.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a shame. I mean, I get some people have, they're upset about some things, whatever. But I put all that aside. You mentioned it last week in last week's show. You go, well, I can't stand Modern Day, but when Modern Day plays a team from Texas or Washington or wherever, you are now like, hey man, those are my SoCal guys. I'm a Modern Day fan now.
Yeah.
And I was hoping some people would have actually approached it that way because these are mostly Virginia kids.
I mean, they're all Virginia kids, right? I mean, aren't they?
I mean, we can't speak on every kid on the roster, but for the most part, they are, right? I mean, even not knowing where every kid is from on the roster, the majority of the kids on the roster are Virginia kids. They're representing Virginia school. They're representing Virginia region in that game. So a bit of a shame that not everyone was able to kind of get behind the Virginia team versus the Maryland team thing, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, you want to have some regional pride, right? Because when they beat you, they can be like, oh, your football over there is okay, but it ain't S word, right?
Right.
That's what they'll say. And you don't want them to say that, right? As much as you may hate them, you want to be able to prove like, no, our kids can. I mean, when Bosco came down here and beat up on Oscar Smith, I did pump my chest a little bit to be like, see, there are levels. There are levels, and you are not there. You're not there.
Right.
I got to do that, right? Again, I didn't go to St. John Bosco. My only connection is my brother-in-law played football with Coach Negro over there. But I really have no connection with them. But those guys represent where I'm from. I'm a native Californian. That's where I'm from. Bosco is kind of close to where I grew up, but but still, it's still. I mean, I know where it is. I mean, I could drive there from where I grew up at. But regionally, I would think that you'd want to have that kind of pride. I mean, when do you want being from Virginia? If you could have knocked that team off, you could be like, see, you're not better than we are.
Right.
We have kids who can play with you guys, and so hopefully that that'll change going forward.
And I mean, the other thing about that game, and you and I again said this when we're watching, we're like, everybody had this picture painted for Hayfield this season, right? Oh, they recruited 1,000 guys and all that stuff. No, the team they were playing recruited 1,000 guys.
Yeah.
A 6, future D1 D linemen alone.
Yeah.
Like that's heavy duty recruiting.
Yeah.
So, like you said, there are levels and there's a difference. Yeah. So people trying to say, oh, look what happened when, some of the negative comments, when it's apples to apples, no, that's not apples to apples. They played a prep school.
Yeah.
That is number one, and not in one area, an entire region, a tri-state region, essentially, right? If you call DC a state, but whatever, a tri-state area, right? And they're the number one team in that. And that, I mean, come on, So like, that's not, people wanted to paint it, like you said, Hayfield as being what those guys those guys were.
Yeah. Some of the kids that really impressed me, one, Jeffrey Overton Jr. is a real deal. I mean, that kid is the real deal. I thought Juju Preston looked really good. I'm a fan because it's from all the interaction we've had with him, he seems like he's a great kid. But Isaiah French was not having a great game early on, and then he started figuring it out. I mean, he did. He really kind of turned it around, and a kind of performance like that sometimes, especially you're a dad of a quarterback. Sometimes you get in their head and they can't pull themselves out of that funk, and he did. I thought he looked really good. Their offensive line, I thought, figured it after a while. I mean, credit to those kids, right? I mean, that was a really talented front four there.
Right. Right.
They started getting, so their offensive line coach obviously did some really good things. So yeah, so credit to them.
Because last I checked, I don't think there's any Division I commits as of right now. As of the second on the Hayfield O line.
No, I don't think so either. In fact,
I don't think there is.
One lineman they have, right? I think is Ian Hall. I think he's the only
right. So those guys had that task.
Yeah,
and they played pretty well considering.
Yeah. So they should be proud. I know you're proud of the Virginian.
Yeah,
the way they played. So yeah, kudos to them, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Like I said last week, if I can change, you can change. We can all change.
Yeah.
My ode to Rocky IV right there. But that was a fun one. It was a fun night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. West Springfield versus Lake Braddock.
Yeah. So this game, I think, was essentially kind of Lake Braddock's last roadblock to getting that to getting the district championship, and I think they've passed that test. Moving forward, West Springfield was definitely in that game for a while.
They were in that game.
They were in the game for a while, and Lake Braddock was eventually able to pull ahead of them. West Springfield also was another hot team, right? Another hot team coming into that game. Right. Definitely are trying to solidify themselves in the playoff seeding right now. It looks like they're going to be pretty safe. I think they're pretty safe at this point. But this was their chance to possibly jump, leapfrog everybody, and because they have Fairfax still on the schedule, had a chance at a district title. But now they're just kind of priming themselves, trying to get them in the best position they can in the playoffs. So
a couple of things about that game. One, I mean, Braddock jumps out to that 13-0 lead. West Springfield, who was scorching hot coming into that game.
Yeah.
I think it was 12-13 at halftime, so they're right back in it. And then second half, Braddock made the adjustments, and Braddock kind of pulled away in the second half. Couple guys that really had good games. Peyton Holmes for Braddock is really coming on. He was one that came over from Patriot.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, and I mean 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Looking like Priest Holmes.
Looking like good. I like that. Looking like a young Priest Holmes. Obviously, you got the runaway wine truck in Bordeaux, right? You got Hibner. At a big 76-yard, receiving. He's always a solid guy. So, guys are stepping up for them right now. Ty Jackson's still out. They got guys stepping up,
and their D line played really well too. Their D line.
So Coach Crush had a quote. Coach Crush, our guy, we call him Mad Max Crush. All right, the man had he says last night. This is a guy who's been around as a D line coach. He's seen some good D lines. He said he's like, it was the highest, and I didn't get a number. So Crush, you know what? Send us a number next time. But one of the highest single game sack totals that he's ever been a part of from his entire D line in a game.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And
right,
West Springfield's not a slouch, right? West Spring.
Right. Led by our man Trent Payne.
Bring the pain.
But that's impressive stuff right there. And like you've been saying, the defense now we kind of flipped now. Defense leading the way, shut them out in the second half.
Yeah. Kudos to their defensive staff to really developing those young kids. That's awesome. Yeah,
that is awesome. So and then next week, and we'll get into this obviously in our next episode, but I know South County, they're lurking.
Yeah.
There's nothing that would put a smile on the faces of the South County coaches more than to upset Purple and Gold.
Yeah, and right now they're the 4th seed. If they upset Braddock, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, you could come last game of the season, and they could, depending on what happens on, these next couple weeks, could technically be the 2 seed all of a sudden.
Right.
So that a little bit, and much like West Springfield last year, or not last year, last few weeks, where they're starting to climb the polls.
Yeah.
They still have a shot to kind of right the wrongs of early in the season.
Right. So keep an eye on that, and we'll break that down obviously next episode. All right, third game that we had on the billing was Herndon and Marshall. Talk about it.
Yeah, both teams had come in and kind of both needed the win. This was a pretty dominating win by Herndon. Definitely a win that they needed for playoff seeding. Defense played really well. I know Carl Frederick had kind of tweeted out there. It said Herndon defense looked like the real deal out there, and which in turn kind of gave their offense some opportunities to kind of pull away from that game, and that's what they ended up doing. Right, it was close for a little bit, and then they kind of pulled away with a dominating defense, performance by Herndon's defense.
Yeah, you and I talked about this last week, and we did say that one of those two teams needed this game on their resume.
Yeah,
they needed this game.
Yeah,
and they're very similar teams coming in.
Yeah,
and Herndon, pulled out. I mean, and Herndon, I'll tell you what, that defense and like you said, the great Carl Frederick kind of gave credit to the Herndon D, led by Josh Richards.
Yeah.
Who I would imagine is going to be one of the hot coaching candidates this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Who's been a hot coaching candidate the last couple of off seasons too. But I think, we said it behind Bueller, Marshall's running back, Lebersher. They did a good job on Lebersher, and that's the key to Marshall, right? Stopping Lebersher, and they did that. Now on the Herndon end, Levenberry had a touchdown reception. Callow, the quarterback, with the passing touchdown. Your man, Elvis Costello, rushing touchdown. And then Braden Humphreys, that's kind of the straw that stirs the drink there, right? Had a big day with 5 tackles. Beach, 1 sack. He said it was just an even balanced attack. It wasn't one guy just kind of dominating things. And that's what you want heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win for them. They're looking right now at a 5 seed, possibly could move to the 4 seed. Might be tough to get a 3, but they have a chance to host that 5-4 matchup.
Yeah, I was thinking this. Well, we'll talk about this as we get into it. But what's the sweet spot over there? You probably want the 7. Who keep an eye on the 7 seed over there
in Region D.
Well, who ends up being in that region, right? The 7 seed in that region playoffs, because 7 seed is going to play WNL.
Right now it's Yorktown.
Watch out, WNL.
WNL rematch.
Don't be Yorktown. Yorktown did it last year from the 7 seed.
Last year, yeah.
Right. So it's a situation where who's looking at the 3 seed? Westfield as of right now?
Langley.
And Westfield's the 4.
Westfield's a 4. And I think 1, 2, and 3 are pretty locked up. Just looking
really? Then I don't want to be the 5. I don't want to be the 5 seed.
You don't want to be the 5.
No. I'm thinking strategically.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the 5. I want to be the 7 seed. I can't wait to break this down as we get closer to the playoffs, because and I know, what are you going to do? Throw games, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you start when the way that map is starting to shape up a little bit, yeah. And I look at it, and you're telling me Westfield's the 4 seed. I don't want to be the 5. Just don't want to be the 5. I want to be the 7 seed. I want to do what Yorktown did a year ago. It was South Lakes then. Hey, what was South Lakes' record?
10-0. They're undefeated.
10-0. What's WNL looking at? Maybe
right now.
Right. I don't know if I want to be the 2 seed. Don't know if I want to be the 2 seed over there. We'll talk about. I can't wait to talk about that. I'm excited. All right. Game 4. Speaking of which, actually, this is perfect timing. This was billed as the battle of. I'm going to show you that we're here to stay in the Concord. Oakton versus Westfield.
Yeah. Right now, I think Westfield is another team is getting hot, right?
Yeah,
they're getting hot, and they're turning to Westfield. They started off, they were a little Bruce Banner-ish.
Yeah.
Now they're turning back into the Incredible Hulk, right?
They really are.
Don't make them angry. I don't know if you like them when they're angry. And
don't make me angry, Mr. McGee.
It looks like they're becoming a little angry right now. So Oakton's still really young. Definitely, those kids have got to learn how to play in big games. But at Westfield, you have a coaching staff who's coached in big games. You have kids who played in big games. So yeah, definitely Oakton has some more work to do, but I'm sure they're primed and ready to go.
Yeah, and you talked about it. I mean, talking to Coach Voss at the beginning of the season, and he said what I'd like to see. If we struggle early on, so be it. But I want to see an upwards trend. Yeah. By the at getting into playoff time. I mean, what was the final score of this game? 42-7?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's upward trend because
Yeah.
I think you predicted Oakland as your upset special this week.
I did.
Yeah, so I mean, and I get it. They're playing really well, and Coach Slay's doing a great job over there. There's no shame in picking them, but we're fine because they are playing well. They're the cardiac Cougars.
Yeah.
But the time was up, right? Time was up at least for now. Now they're still fighting for that eight
And
seed.
now people know who you are now, right? It's not how good is this guy, what's that guy like? There is now at this point 8 games of film on you, and they kind of
Right.
know who you are, and so now you've got to start making adjustments, which I'm sure they're doing at the coaching staff doing there, but I'm just saying like they're trying to make their adjustments right there.
And that was Westfield without you said that some reports said that Duda didn't play.
Didn't play. Yeah.
So if that's the case, that's even more impressive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So kudos to them, and be interesting to see how that whole conference or that whole region rather shakes out over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right, we're closing things out of our Fab Five. We had a game you were pretty excited about: Colgan and Woodbridge.
Yeah. So this was a pretty good game all the way through. Colgan actually has a lead in the third quarter. They're up 17-14, and then Woodbridge rattles off 2 straight, a couple touchdowns. They got to take this lead, and I think we talked before about how many there's 20 teams in that thing, so I think it may be really tough now for Colgan to kind of sneak in into the playoffs, which is unfortunate. I think they've had a really good season. I think they're a really good football team, but and we'll talk more about the offseason. But VHSL has got to do something about these regions. You can't have a region that has 10 teams when it has 20 teams. I mean, I think that's just
Right.
yeah.
But Woodbridge, speaking of the Incredible Hulk, right? Don't make them angry.
Yeah. Well, that's gearing up for the man, the end of the year. Where are you going? Are you going to Patriot Battlefield? Are you going to Woodbridge Garfield? Because those are essentially championship games.
They are.
Those are gonna be, and I don't think you're getting that in the Fairfax Alexandria schools. I don't.
No, you're right. It's going to be an exciting finish over there. We got to talk to our man Carl Frederick,
because I think we had talked about it. I think Braddock's magic numbers is down to 1. I think if they win their next game, I think they have theirs locked up. Madison has theirs locked up. I think Madison already has theirs locked up. I think it's done already. W.O. Langley, the championship is this week.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Their championship game is this week, and then in the national, I mean, Hayfield's has it locked up.
Right.
So a lot of those teams are just gonna be playing out the last game, whereas those 2 teams those 4 teams in Prince William are gonna be live and in living color.
Well, that kind of wrapped up the Fab Five this week, but weren't finished at all. We had the best of the rest, or the rest of the best, and we had let's kind of go down the scores here. AC and West Potomac, and I'm going to get into this when we get into our power rankings in a minute, but West Potomac pulls it out by a touchdown, 21-13.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on West Po, my friend.
Yeah, and big, right? This is their chance to go on their run to possibly make the playoffs. Tight game, right? Kind of rivals a little bit. I mean, those kids that were relatively close to each other. Yeah, big game for West Po, who will be playing tomorrow.
That's right.
No rest for the weary for them, man. They
are playing.
They've got Mount Vernon tomorrow,
right? Or on Monday, right?
And Mount Vernon right now currently in the playoffs. I think West Po beats them. I think they may knock them down. I think West.
Well, this is like right now. The West Po's like is Rambo right now, right? I mean, they're going to go and just start knocking people off one by one, secretly in the woods, right, jumping out of trees. I mean,
you could argue that
they're about to knock out like 3. They can knock out 3 or 4 teams right now.
Well, you could argue right now they have a playoff game every game now. Yeah, they have to win the rest of their games. I think they win the rest of their games they're in. So their playoffs started Friday night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, AC. I mean, a close loss to Westpo. They're playing their butts off right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, congratulations to them. Yeah, they're playing really well.
And if they, I don't know the ages of that squad. We'll look at that in the offseason, but if they're bringing back a lot of those guys, that could be a team to watch out for next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Moving on. We talked about them a lot this episode. Fairfax and Robinson. That was a pretty hot Robinson team as well.
Yeah. It was a pretty exciting game, but Fairfax continued to kind of plod through their schedule. They're looking
Right.
good. A lot of weapons. I think a lot more weapons than anyone could have possibly thought. Right.
Right. I mean, a 28-3 win by Fairfax. A couple things that I speaking of, and we kind of talked up Fairfax earlier. I mean, Murad looked good.
Yeah.
Right. Penn Morris looked good. Moman looked good. Gerald Martin looked good. Dave Tolson looked good. I mean, they're really coming on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
waiting for the Lynch breakout game.
Yeah. They're a tough team, man, and they play tough football. On Robinson, they were hot coming in. I like what they're doing under Coach Blair. They're starting to make that turn.
Yeah.
Couple stats though that I mentioned it last week that I was pretty sure about Zalestra being the all-time receiver, breaking the receiver record at Robinson. That he did. So he set every major single season record at Robinson. Quarterback is breaking a lot of the Robinson single season attempts, completions, touchdowns, and a few other ones this year. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I know they have a history of being kind of a wing T, ground pound school. But still, anytime you break records, I don't care what it is, I don't care who it is, it's always it should be noted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's awesome, good stuff. All right, moving on, we have got, and that, by the way, Fairfax is playing West Springfield soon. They're playing next week. Yeah, that's a good game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that's a really good game, and we'll break that down next week, obviously, next episode. All right, Madison, and kind of the rematch, to South Lakes. They lost this game a year ago.
Yeah,
not so much this time, 35-7.
Yeah. I mean, Madison, the class of their district. South Lakes, trying to rebuild the program over there. So,
yeah. So kudos to them, as they pretty much got the 1 seed pretty much locked up over there. Woodson kind of struggled against South County.
Yeah, close for a little while. Close.
Yeah, 12-0 game at halftime, right?
Yeah. Some close at half. I watched a little bit of that game. Woodson was having some success moving the football a little bit. They just couldn't get sustain any drives.
But your guy Nicky Smith.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked good.
Big play, Nicky.
Yeah, I thought they were good run the football, but South County, as poorly as things gone right now, they're the 4th seed, and they've got to keep on winning, and who knows, right? And they've got a big game against Braddock coming up, right?
Tyler Orth had a big game for them.
Yeah.
Right. Hunter Malecki, obviously, the guys who normally do their thing, Steve Karoma. They've been snake bitten with injuries this year, unfortunately for them, South County. So hopefully, they're healthy, coming into next week's game against Braddock. Yeah. All right. We got Edison behind our man, the center. We love our man, Gabriel Kim. Edison 34, Justice 13.
Yeah, and Edison trying to make back-to-back playoff appearances. So they're gonna keep on rolling through. So congratulations to Edison on their big win. Yeah, good stuff. Mount Vernon with the big win over Annandale. It was a high-scoring game though, a little barn burner, 49-20. Yeah. Annandale offense looks like they found us things, but Mount Vernon rushed for quite a bit of yards. I think 264 on the round, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, for sure. WNL still undefeated against 47-8 over McLean. Yeah, McLean starting to fade a little bit. WNL just continues to roll, keeping themselves focused on an undefeated season and possible 2 seed, possible 1 seed. I mean, depending on who knows, right? Maybe Madison slips up. Right. Yeah. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. Look what happened last year with South Lakes. Yeah. Just never know. All right, heading out west. We had a few ball games out there. We'll kind of quickly go over. Hilton against your boys at Garfield. Man, 63-0. Yeah. Garfield definitely setting that championship game against Woodbridge, and Garfield's a machine right now. Garfield and Hilton still trying to find their footing. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Yeah. Freedom Woodbridge Potomac Senior. Yeah, Potomac with their second win for the season. Big win, 72-0 over Freedom. We all know what's kind of going on with Freedom right now. So, I'm pulling for those guys to finish up the season, keep on working hard, and build up for next year. Keep fighting. I will say this, though. Again, we're next week's matchups. Interesting game next week between Hilton and Freedom Woodbridge. Yeah, yeah. Looking for a second one of the season with Hilton. So
All right. OP versus Battlefield. Battlefield with the big win.
Battlefield, big win, keeps on rolling through. Osmond Park, struggling this year, but Battlefield keeping their eyes on the prize.
And then we had Osborne, Gainesville.
Yeah, Gainesville, well, after two pretty tough losses back to back with Patriot and Battlefield, Gainesville gets a big win against Osborne.
Yeah, they did. Do you have the score on that?
I do not. 34-6.
All right. And then we got kind of finishing things up here. Patriot with a big win over Mountain View. I shouldn't be impressed anymore by anything Patriot does.
No, Mountain View not a bad program, but Patriot,
no, not at all.
Again, we got the big match now. We have Patriot Garfield next week. Garfield wants to show they belong for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. That might be game of the week, buddy. I want to see if Adam Schefter's heading over to PW next week. See if Carl Frederick's heading out that way. That's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. All
right, buddy. Well, that rounds up week 9. Week 9 in the books. Yeah. Another one done.
Another one. But two regular season weeks left.
That's it. And we're not done, my friend. We are far from finished. We've got your favorite segment, my favorite segment. We've got power rankings, the most respected and authentic power rankings in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know how we do it, buddy. You know how we do it. First things first. You threw a party. You let 10 people into the party. But who's hanging outside trying to get in, buddy? Who's trying to get into your party?
So I have 3. I have 3 in no particular order. I have Gainesville, Herndon, and Langley.
Okay. I invited those guys to my party. You're a little stickler.
Well, I'm curious who is in my party that you didn't.
All right, so Herndon is outside trying to get in. Herndon, I had the invitation. I had the invitation, and then I ran out of stamps. I looked down. I had no more stamps left, and I said, damn, all right, you know what? I got to go to the post office and get some stamps. So, Herndon, you are on the cusp of getting the invite. All right, good for them. Centerville, red hot Centerville. Red hot. They're on their way in. All right. Woodbridge, some could argue they should be in already. Maybe I have a little anti-West bias in me. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Woodbridge kind of hanging around. And another one you didn't see coming. Keep an eye on that, okay? Nostradashus. I don't have the hat right now, but Nostradashus, Westpo on their way up. On their way up. Look out for Westpo.
They were surprised to almost get an invite, right?
Yes, they were. They're like, I thought they hated me. They're inviting me to their party. So that's the outside looking in at my place. All right. Starting from 10. Who do you got, buddy?
At 10, I got Garfield.
Okay. I've got Gainesville at 10. Okay.
At 9, I have Woodbridge.
At 9, I got Westfield. I like what they're doing right now.
You got Westfield at 9?
You'll see.
At 8, I have Fairfax.
8, I have Fairfax.
Look at that. It's always interesting whenever we match. I always think
great minds think alike.
At 7, I like them better. I got Westfield.
Okay. So at 7, I got Lake Braddock.
Okay. At 6, I like them better. I got Lake Braddock.
Wow. All right. So this is one that's going to kind of blow your mind here. At 6, I got Langley.
Got Langley at 6.
That's a one-loss team. They're cruising right now, buddy.
All right. Ready?
Go for it.
We got 5?
5.
At 5, I got WNL.
5 at WNL. This is where the big boys play, is 5 and up.
This is where the big boys
play. And I got WNL 5.
All right. And this is where we disagree. At 4, I have Patriot.
And then we're just going to kind of move guys around. At 4, I have Battlefield.
At 3, I have Madison.
At 3, I have Madison.
All right. At 2, I got Battlefield.
At 2, I have Hayfield. That's where they've been. I've had.
All this draped in the Virginia flag, representing my state.
You son of a gun.
You're sitting there. I don't even know. I'm sure Virginia has an anthem. You're singing it. He still put him at 2.
You know, last I checked, all 10 of these teams are from Virginia, you jerk.
Oh, they went represented. They fought the war for you. They came home. They came home with their fatigues on.
I turned my back.
They're walking in with the flute and the guy with a bandage playing the drums, and you just turned your back on them.
I did turn. Oh, look. And actually, funny story. At the game the other day, our man Isaiah, young Isaiah, who's a Hayfield number 1 fan, Hayfield Hawks fan. He had the foam, like the foam fingers at Hayfield number 1 on it. A nice kid, Isaiah. Isaiah comes down and he's like, Mesa, you're the best. He's like, Coach Dash, he kind of. He's like, you don't have Hayfield 1, you got Hayfield 2.
He did the Spartans fit or unfit. He was like,
he did. He said, he's like, we prefer Mesa around here. Mesa's got us at 1. You got us at 2. And I said, look, someone's got to be the heel. Someone's got to be the bad guy. And I'll wear that. I'll wear that. All right. Now, I want to say this though. I could have gone 1A, 1B. I mean, these teams are top notch. But I really feel like Patriot. All right, when it comes down, it's my number 1, Patriot. They're going to show some things, and they're going to show it in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. At number 1, after the big wins over St. John Bosco, 35-0 at the half, I have Mater Dei. I didn't have Mater Dei. I have Hayfield.
Look, Hayfield now can kind of rest a little bit, right, after that tough game. And we'll kind of see how the playoffs shape up here in the next few weeks with the seeding and everything. Patriot, on the other hand, my number 1 is going to have essentially 2 playoff games the next 2 weeks. They're playing Garfield.
Yeah.
And then they play Battlefield.
Yeah. I mean, big games, man.
But that's how you can drop. They lose one of those. Yeah. Guess what? They're no longer number 1. Hayfield jumps back up. All is well with the world, as you would say. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun final 2 weeks of the season.
It will be. Lot to be decided.
Yeah, for sure. Well, buddy, and the games this week are going to be Saturday.
Yes.
So we might do usually our show comes out on Tuesday. It might come out on Wednesday this week.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We'll push it back a day.
Yeah.
So it might be and like I said, we very well may have a big announcement this week. So keep an eye on the social media and all that stuff for the big announcement we have this week. Can't wait. We can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach Mesa, it's been great.
Been fun.
All right. Good luck to your Niners and your Dodgers.
Yeah. We play the hated Cowboys. Yeah. Oh, I hate the Cowboys.
Well, you're a good company here. When you're on this show and our audience, Virginia audience, they don't like the Cowboys either. So you're a good company there. Well, from Coach Dash and Coach Mesa, we'll see you next time.
See you.